Today, I'm going to talk about what's the number one psychological lesson that you could take away, that you could do for yourself in order to succeed in the markets. This is true for institutional and retail traders, whether you're just starting out or whether you just got a big allocation or whether you're in a drawdown or whether you've just seen your equity go parabolic, right? The goal is to stay placated. You're involved in a probabilistic endeavor. You're going to put on trades. You might have 30% winners, 40% winners, which means you're going to have 60 to 70% losers. If you know those numbers ahead of time, there really isn't any reason to get upset when you're losing money, nor is it worth, going berserk and clicking your heels when you're making money. People think about trading in terms of the financial payoff and then the emotional rewards that go with that and hitting your goals. Your goal setting should be job number one. So this way, you basically come to the marketplace knowing what to expect every day, right? What can you control, right? I talked about knowing the baseball psychologist Ken Revisa for quite some time. We talk about controlling the controllables. So what is it that you can control when you think about it? There's not much. You have to have a good attitude, right? You can certainly control your wish list and what it is that you're looking to buy. You could certainly narrow that down and actually put your orders into the market, right? And that's as good as you can do at that point. That's the most you can control. What's my position size? What's my risk? That's all discretionary. Put that all to work, and boom, you got it. But in terms of the outcome of the trade, you're powerless over that. I know you'd like to think you can steer stuff, and you got hunches, and you got intuitions, and this and that. But at the end of the day, there were people who thought differently from you, from Nvidia's earnings or where the S&P was going to go, right? And they can still make money. The goal is to keep your losses very, very small. That's the key to making money, so that when you find yourself in these big winners, it's not just to offset the massive amount of losers that you have, so that net you're up 1%. So I know you can do this. I know you can do it. You have to want to do it, right? Because then we can start talking about, are you able to do it? Yes, but are you willing to do it, right? So few people are actually willing to go through it. And I get a lot of emails and questions about, man, I don't know, should I be feeling good about only hitting my goals when I make big money? Or the other one is like obvious, I feel good when I'm making and I feel bad when I'm losing. Another one is like, I don't really know what I'm doing. So when I make money, my brain is like scrambled eggs, right? So my goal at that point would be to stop what you're doing and anticipate what it is that you want to do. Like, what do you want your money to do for you? How do you want trading to serve you in your life? And again, this doesn't matter how many years experience or how many tens of millions you have under management. If you don't have a vision for it, it's going to be hard to manifest it, because it's just going to be like high tide and low tide. Your kelp is just going to go with whatever way the tide's going to go. Where the most successful people that I know in trading are willing to feel every feeling, and that gives them an enormous amount of freedom. There's nothing to have to shy away from, because it's just like jiu-jitsu. There's no losing. You win or you learn. That's the way it works. And so when I think about it, when you put on what your optimal risk unit is, you're powerless over the results. You know what the probabilities of those results could be if you've backtested a system and you've calculated your expected value, right? So the emotional goal, therefore, is to take solace and to feel good about the fact that you're one of the very rare human beings who can just follow his or her their discipline every day. That's the emotional reward right there. Is, can you follow your rules every day? You're powerless over the results. So it's not about I feel good when I'm making, I feel good when I'm losing. You feel the same every trade, because you only can control the controllables. That's why I think you can do this. I'm certain of it. But you're thinking right now about perhaps the wrong things. You're resulting. You're like, I put this trade on and made money, therefore it's good. Let me repeat it. You don't really know that, right? Go back and listen to my interview with Annie Duke. We talked about that quite a bit. At the end of the day, only thing you can control is what your process is, and stick to it, not waver from it. If one day you're going to do this thing, then Tuesday you'll do another thing, and Wednesday you're going to do this, that doesn't sound like a person who's trading with confidence. They're trying anything, and you might be at that stage. I get it. You have to see what works. So that's true. But once you start and you've picked your strategy, and you know who you are, you know what your goals are, you know what it is that you're trying to do with trading, how you want it to serve you in your life, right? You know what kind of money you need and want to make, so you can understand what the expected value is. And with that, you can calculate the number of trades that you need, right? Do you employ leverage or not? Surprisingly, you don't need a lot of leverage to make a lot of money into 100% or more. But it all depends on your style. And once you determine that style, which is going to be a reflection of your personality mostly, then you could just put your head down and follow your rules every day. There will be winning streaks, and they'll go on for reasons that you can't really fathom. There'll be times when you're in a drawdown, and they will go on for longer, probably feel longer than you want them to. But the only thing that you can control is putting on your trades at the end of the day. You're powerless over the outcome. And that's an important thing to understand. So with that, I just say, okay, every day I'm going to just follow my rules. And I can put in rules that if I'm in a drawdown, I can start haircutting my capital and trade even smaller and this and that. But you get the picture. That's why I think you can do this, but you need to make up in your mind that that's how you're going to go about what you want out of the markets from an emotional standpoint, right? There is no room for frustration. Just like there's no room for you taking a screen grab of your big win and putting it through social media. Come on, what are you, 16? No one cares. At the end of the day, it's like, can you just follow your process day after day after day? Do you have the maturity to do that? And if you do, to me, you'll be a great success. Most people can't. They're all over the place. They have no focus. They have no discipline, and that affects their attitude. So they're letting their outside world affect their inner voice. Michael Martin says, just the other way around. You have to manifest it in here first and then express it to the outside world. It all starts inside you. That's why I know you can make it. Doesn't matter what some act says about a stock, or someone's making a market call, or someone saying valuations are too high, right? Predictions are very difficult to make, especially those about the future, right? But TV, they need content. So what else are they going to do? We talked about that before. They're going to have an analyst or a manager come on, or some central banker. They're going to give you all their opinions and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, they're human beings, and that means they suck at prediction, right? They're not people who have great feels. So if you can minimize all that emotional crap that's going on in your brain, right, and go on a diet and just say, my goal every day is to do one thing, and that's to follow my setup. And if I don't see the setup, I'm not going to force it. That, again, is maturity, right? Would you do this if I was standing over your shoulder? Would you do this if I was standing there and you were trading my money and you knew that you could catch a backhand for doing stupid shit with my money? You see what I'm saying? So you have to have the discipline to do what's right. And that means sometimes sitting on your hands. It doesn't mean looking at 1 minute bars. It says stick to your knitting. Because if you can do that and you can behave consistently, right? Behavior predicts where you end up. It's a pretty simple model at the end of the day. And anybody can do it. But unfortunately, most don't have the stick-to-itiveness and they can't stick with it. So they do it intermittently. Or they do it when they're in a winning streak. So that's why I'm very enthused about, trader mindset. I'm very, very excited about that because I know once people can lock into that, the results that they're getting are outstanding. They're better than they ever could have expected. And they come back and they say, there's so little that I actually have to do in order to make money. There's so little. I thought there was so much more to it. I thought you needed all these things. You needed monitors. You needed real-time feeds. Like my best year of trading, I didn't even have real-time quotes. So that's why I'm really excited for you, is that if you can diet things down and trim the fat off the meat, so to speak, like a sous chef, there's great opportunity for you in the markets if you can learn to stay out of your own way. You can't steer or control the outcome of a trade. The best thing that you can do is follow your setups or put your trades on if you're doing it rules-based, and then stay out of the results, put your stops in accordingly to however you do it. Once you start overthinking, like maybe I have to tinker with this or tinker with that, is when you start getting into trouble, right? You know inherently what to do. You put your buy stops in. You don't chase the market. Let the market tell you when it's going to come in. If you don't get filled, that's a good thing. You didn't chase, right? So your rule served you. So I believe there's great promise in the folks that are endeavoring to do this, and they're trying to figure it out. That one key takeaway, if I could just summarize it, is that the feelings that you want to feel good about are the ones that you come from your having exercised your discipline day after day after day. To me, that's the only thing to feel good about. No one likes losing money. I don't either. I don't like getting knocked out of trades and then having them go back up. I don't like things knocking me out where I have to buy back in at higher prices, but that's part of trading. And I'm willing to feel all those feelings. There's none of them, no feeling scares me. I'm the boss here. I'm sitting at the head of the table. So if you can get yourself to that spot, I know you'll free yourself of all the other mental crap that goes on. You see what I'm saying? So think about that. Focus on your discipline, and then make it your goal every day to take the requisite amount of risk that's appropriate for what you want to do and what kind of goals you have. So then everything else just falls into place. It's just a matter of time. Why? Behavior predicts where you end up. If you like this video, check out this one.